Good afternoon, Primary 7. I'm happy to meet you once again. And I'm sure you have not forgotten my name, Prince Henry, once again. Remember, I'm still sitting in for your teacher who is not yet well, as I told you last time. We continue to pray for her, but I'm sure very, very soon she'll be fine. Okay, did you do my work? I left you with quite a lot of work last time. But since you are good children, I'm sure you did all the work. And we shall be checking through the work together. Since you are at home and you are doing a lot of free activity, you are doing a lot of your own work, you are not getting instructions from teachers, I'm sure all you are doing is creativity. That's why today we are going to look at creative writing. Creative writing. Besides doing all that you are doing from your own art, we shall look at creative writing. But to start with is it good to tell lies? We all know telling lies is telling something untruth. Yeah? But anyway, is it good to tell lies? I'm sure the Bible condemns this. Telling lies is a sin. Actually, a sinful sin. But what happens in English language? How do we treat lies or telling lies in English language? Good news is that in English language, telling lies is allowed. It is actually a holy sin in English language. Why? Because we are always told to write stories. Yeah? You are always told to write stories. They tell you to write a story about the first journey by bus. And maybe you have never traveled by bus. Yeah? You have never traveled by bus. What are you going to do? Will you write and say, Mr. Examiner, sir, I have never traveled by bus, and that will be an answer? No. What do? You sit down, begin to paint a picture. You can even close the eyes and look at the bus. And you paint a picture that now I'm on a bus, I'm traveling to Kavale, very sharp corners, okay? What will you be doing? You will simply be telling lies, but these will be holy lies because you want to get marks. So in English, telling lies is okay. Okay? We tell lies in English when we are writing stories. That's why today we are looking at composition writing. Composition writing. The word composition simply comes from compose. And what is to compose? Just to create. To compose is to create something from your own creativity. You sit down and paint a picture and make things happen. Okay? From your own creativity. Your own art. Your own art. Okay? Your own art. For example, dressing. Dressing. You see, you cannot be smart in life unless you are good at composition. Because you will know, I am in black trousers, and what about the shirt? The shirt has something to match with the trousers, meaning there is some composition here. What about the shoes? If I have black shoes, what should the belt be? That is composition. Writing patterns. Do we all have the same handwriting? No. Each one of us has a different handwriting, maybe, and that is your composition. Also walking. The walking is quite also different. Others may walk like this. Others may walk like this. Others may walk like how. And all that is your composition. Even talking. Drawing and painting, writing songs, singing and dancing. All that is composition. Meaning, we do composition every day. We do composition every day. It is part of us. Okay. It is part of us. However, there are very many types of composition. Very many. And today, we shall look at only one. The only one we shall look at is the narrative composition. narrative composition that might be imaginary or expeditory. Imaginary comes from imagination. This is why I told you, you sit down and weave your lies and make them smart lies. Okay? You imagine something that you have never seen, something that has never happened, something that you have never done. And you write a story as if it has happened before. Or as if it will happen in the future. Okay? You write to tell something that happened, or something that is happening, or something that will happen, just from imagination. If not, you might have done it, or you might have gone through it. That is, you are writing from experience. If we say, write about a party, who has never attended a party? You find all of you have ever attended parties. Yeah? So you will be writing from experience. You know, you did it, you saw it happening, you were part of it. That is writing from experience. Okay? So you will be writing from your own creativity. That is why I'm saying this is free writing. But we can say there is something, though it is free, we say it is not just free as in free, it is guided. Why do we say it is guided? Because there are instructions you have to follow. Okay? You have been given instructions that write a composition about this and that. For example, if you say, write a composition to tell what happened, how it happened, when it happened, etc. There you will be writing following those instructions. And those instructions will be guiding you. And that is why we are saying this is a free but guided composition. The composition you will write will not just come from heaven. Or you will not just look at the instructions and begin to write. No. There are steps we have to take in order to write a very good composition. The first step is pre-writing. Pre-writing simply means before writing. The word pre alone means before. So what do we do before we begin to write? The instructions are there on a piece of paper or maybe on a chalkboard. What we do is to read the instructions. We read properly and understand clearly. Okay? We understand what the teacher or what the examiner expects from you and your composition. Okay? That is why you have to have the following questions behind your mind. One, what is the topic of the composition? In other words, what am I going to write about? What am I going to write about? Two, how do I start? And how do I end? Some of you watch movies nowadays because you have a lot of time at home. So you watch movies. You will see a certain movie will start from the end. The first scene you will see will be its end. So this is the same thing because those movies one day were written stories. Meaning the person who wrote the story connected the introduction to the conclusion. And the conclusion became the introduction. So you can also do the same. So after understanding what your composition will be about, the next thing will be, how do I start? And you cannot start a journey if you don't know where you are going and how your journey will end. That is why, as you think about starting, you should also be able to think about how to end. Meaning, you have to have this composition in your head before you put it on paper. Even if you close your eyes like this, you should be able to see your composition. Okay? The next one will be, how long will my composition be? How many paragraphs am I going to write? Okay? Then another one is the mood. The mood of the composition. we can see the mood in the composition. We said, oh, this is a sad mood. You people watch movies and cry. You watch movies and laugh. You read stories and cry. You read stories and laugh. You read stories and even hate the writers. Because of the mood you find in those stories. So your composition should also have a mood. Should also have something. Because it is the mood of your composition that will help you select the words that you are going to write or to use. Okay? It is the mood that will help you select the vocabulary, select the words that you will use so that the meaning of your composition can come out very well. If you are writing about a funeral, we don't expect to see jubilation, celebrations at a funeral. If you are writing about a party, we don't want tears. Okay? The next very important question you should have, what tense will I use in my composition? Am I writing something about the past? Am I writing something about the present? Am I writing something about the future? So it is also very important to understand the tense that you will use when writing this composition. Okay? And having answered all these questions in your mind, the next is you may make an outline of points as you plan, how they will be flowing in your composition. Okay? Now, the next step is putting it on paper. Now we are going to write the composition. We are going to write the composition to put it on paper. Remember, now we have the plan, and actually we have put it in the head. We said even if you close your eyes, you can look at your composition. Now, here is where you are going to build your thoughts into a complete story. Remember, we said make an outline of points or thoughts. Now here, we are building them into a complete story. But remember, the story will not be just jumbled, or your thoughts will not just be mixed up. No, your ideas or your thoughts should be in a good chronological order. The time order, that systematic order. What happened, then what followed, then what next? What came before what and what came after which? Okay? That order. There is something very important we should understand. As a thesis, this is the statement you will begin with. You can start your composition with a question. You can start your composition with an exclamatory sentence like, what a warm day it was yesterday. What a warm day it was yesterday. And that is how you begin your composition. Then the reader will be excited. Oh, what happened yesterday? Let me read on. So, a thesis is a single most important part of a composition. How do you start? Okay? Remember, you don't have to be so very pompous in your composition. To use very difficult words. Because you may use them and you change the meaning of your composition. Though we say be logical. Yeah? Be logical. Use figures of speech in your composition. Okay? Figures of speech, you know them. Proverbs, use idioms, use similes, use metaphors, use collocations, yeah? Use those figures of speech in your composition, okay? It will be more interesting. And when you are writing, don't keep stopping to think, because you thought in the pre-writing step. at the pre-writing stage. You stopped and thought and put your thoughts together. So here, avoid frequent stopping, because as you stop, you'll get a different idea that may not connect to the previous one. So I advise you to keep at least a 10-minute pen on. You are writing at least for 8 to 10 minutes. You put a full stop at once. And when you put a full stop, what do you do? What do you do? You proofread. You read through your composition to see how is my composition. Have I written the correct spellings? Have I put the correct punctuations where they are necessary? Have I used the correct language? Yeah. Anyway, is this what I really needed to write at the beginning? That is another step. Okay? Let us look at the parts of a composition. A composition has 3 main parts. 1, the introduction. This is always 1 paragraph. 1 paragraph. It should be very interesting. And in the composition, in the introduction, define the theme. Define what you are writing about. If you are writing about weather, for example, define weather in the introduction so that your reader knows what you are writing about. Okay? If you are writing about violence, define violence in your introduction so that the reader knows what you are writing about. Let it connect to the body well, and then you go to the body. The body is the main part. It might have as many paragraphs as possible because each new idea, each new thought is put in a new paragraph. Okay? It is in the body where you are going to explain. Give examples. Give all the necessary details. The negatives and the positives in the body. But remember I said, please, each new idea is a new paragraph. For example, road accidents in Uganda. And if they say, in your composition, include the causes of accidents, the effects of accidents, and the solutions. And you're saying, overspeeding is one of the causes. That should be a paragraph, an independent paragraph. Overspeeding. You can say, another cause of road accidents in Uganda is overspeeding. This is where drivers and cyclists drive and ride at a breakneck speed. Hence, failure to control their vehicles at sharp bends, and so you just dress it, you explain, you elaborate. Then you say, secondly, driving while drunk, and again you explain. Thirdly, carelessness, and then you explain. Okay? Each in a new paragraph. Then, the last part is the conclusion. This is simply a summary. Okay? This is a summary. It should be 1 paragraph, and bringing a feeling, actually making a summary of the body and the entire composition, and bringing a feeling to the reader that the story has ended. So the composition or your story should not just end from the blue. It should end here. Okay? Continue. As we write, these are very, very important notes to take. 1 is the handwriting. You have to write legibly. Your handwriting should be very good. 2, the tense. The tense. Okay? The tense in which your composition is. 3 is the style. What do I mean the style. Some of you want to begin the composition with the address and then the date. And dear Mr. Examiner, that becomes a letter, not a composition. A composition simply begins with the title. Road accidents in Uganda. You may write it in capital letters throughout, or you may capitalize each word. But the danger in capitalizing each word is there are words that are never capitalized if they are in the middle of a phrase, like prepositions, like conjunctions, articles, and others. So it is always very advisable to write your title in capital letters throughout, and you don't put a full stop. Proper paragraphing is another one to note. Good punctuation, and then the relevancy. Have you written about what they have told you to write about? The relevance. Is your composition related to the theme? Or you started well and along the way you changed the story and wrote something else? Another one is the good language. Your composition should be written in a very good language. Remember to explain your ideas and address each in a new paragraph. Okay, in a new paragraph. I am going to I'm going to attach here a sample composition. I'm going to attach here a sample composition. A sample composition. This one. A sample composition, so that we know how do we start and how do we end. But what you have to remember is what do you do before writing, and what do you do as you are writing, and what do you do as you finish your composition. Otherwise, stay safe.